Flair, and then, of course, Flair went to the WWE for the first time. But, he's definitely a company man. He's definitely one of those individuals that will support you, that will help you, and that will stand guard. And that's what, Flair is doing with the WWE.
Hey, what do you think of this Miz thing? How long are they going to go with this, where he comes out and calls out Cena? He said he came out on Raw this past Monday and said he was about to go 6-0 against John Cena. I like the Miz's mic work, but how long can they go with it? You know what I mean?
It kind of reminds you when they first brought him in, he was more of a host. And, he forgot his lines a couple of times, kind of embarrassment moments, kind of like an Adam Lee situation. I kind of remember that during Raw. He kind of forgot his lines and looked up at the Tron. But his situation,
poor Mike Adam Lee. Don't you miss that guy? Don't you miss him, man?
No. I miss Eric Bischoff, though. That I will admit. I don't know what it is, but when you see Eric on TV, there's always some sort of, maybe because he did the TLA angle or something like that. But I don't know. It's just I kind of miss his kind of wicked wisdom.
Did I tell you I got an email from Eric about a month and a half ago for a reality show. Him and Paul Heyman. A few months ago.
Yeah, I remember the Paul Heyman and those elite groups of individuals.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the Miz is interesting. He has kind of like a unique flavor, I guess maybe you want to call it, a way how he produces or how he kind of shoots his angles and the way he talks. I mean, I am not 100% with him, but I admire that here comes a dude that never really followed wrestling, did his reality show stuff and said, you know what, WWE, it sounds kind of fun, and really kind of went down and started from the bottom, and now look at him. He's in front of 5 million viewers on TV, and working his magic, and I admire for a guy that can do that, and you can see that he's just so comfortable with it, and it's just people are buying into it. How long would it last? Well, the day and the moment that we see John Cena come down and kick his ass in 10 seconds and then loses won't be a good thing. If Cena comes down and them two have another long, fight and Cena's still coming over, then Miz still continues his heat and still continues his angle. But if he comes down, Cena comes down and beats his ass in 10 seconds, then that's not a good thing. That's not
does he go out next week and call out the Big Show? Because the Big Show, remember the Big Show was the one that punched him in the head, knocked him out, and then Chavo tagged in and covered Miz. So what does Miz do? Go out and call out the Big Show next week and we move on from John Cena? Is that where we're headed with this?
He has better luck calling out Hornswoggle than freaking Big Show.
Yeah, dude, that's what I thought. You know what? That's what when I saw they announced it on WWE.com earlier in the day, and who was it? It was The Miz and the Big Show against John Cena and a mystery partner. And I said, you know what? They're going to put Hornswoggle with John Cena and have him overcome these huge odds, right? You've got the Big Show in there, and then you've got the small guy in there, and then you've got Miz in there, you know what I mean? And John Cena is tagged with Hornswoggle. But they wound up doing Chavo Guerrero, so it's funny you brought that up. But next, this is what I really want to talk about here is they had a match for the United States Championship with Kofi Kingston against MVP. And last week we kind of talked about it, and this is going to lead us into – actually, we'll come back to that. Would you well, there's not much left on Raw. We had a Vicky Guerrero and Santina Marella basically done for comedy where Vicky came out with a slop bucket. Santino came out with the buckets at first, and then Matt Hardy came out, William Regal came out. They wound up getting slopped in the face, and then Vicky Guerrero came out, and she covered them with slop, and we've got that match at the pay-per-view. God, we've got that to talk about too. We got to fly here, but main event, parking lot brawl, parking lot fight, whatever you want to call it. This killed me, man. It went on for way too long. You know what I mean? That was my only problem with it. The crowd was dead. And when they do things in the back like that, where they're not in front of a live crowd, they lose that crowd fairly quickly. And the fact that they kept the audio on during that segment where you could hear the crowd, you could still hear the crowd, you know what I mean? And they were just dead silent. And I thought that took a lot away from the angle, you know what I mean? It was supposed to be a big beat down. And then at some point the cage lowered, and they locked Flair in the cage, and Batista came out, and the whole storyline is Batista couldn't get over the top of the cage or couldn't get inside the cage to save Rick. So that's how the show went off the air. I mean, you don't have much to talk about on that end, do you?
No, not really. I mean, it's we kind of rebutted about that anyway earlier. But
the other match, Kofi Kingston and MVP. We all know that they released Mr. Kennedy last week, Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. And I had said last Monday I thought we were gonna see a title change here, and my hope when I said that was that they were going to elevate MVP into the title picture. I mean, the guy came out on Raw a few weeks ago, right after the draft, came out and cut that awesome promo. I mean, I thought it was really well done, and I think he really made a name for himself with that promo. And my hope was that, maybe management saw that and said, you know what, if we take the title off this guy, we put the title on Kofi Kingston, who they seem to like as well, and the fans seem to like him as well, too. You know what I mean? So I don't think it hurts MVP dropping the title. Now, on next Monday's Raw, the hope is MVP will be elevated into some sort of main event storyline, and then Kofi Kingston will be kept at that mid-card status. And you had said last week that if it wasn't MVP, we discussed who would it be, MVP or Mr. Kennedy, that would get that push to the top. And I had said, Mr. Kennedy's kind of injury prone, and do you really want to push a guy that's so injury prone to the top and then have him get injured and then he's out again, and you've wasted an opportunity for somebody to say like MVP, a guy that's not that injury prone or that hasn't been injured in quite some time. You know what I mean? And in the end, they wound up getting rid of Kennedy, which was mainly due to injury problems. But I think there's a little bit more to that story, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But as far as MVP losing the title to Kofi Kingston, I think Kofi Kingston has a good run with the title there. Holds that title in the mid-card position, and then MVP, like I said, my hope is that he's elevated to main eventer.
Which it was a little bit surprising. I mean, you definitely called it. You definitely called it. When I saw the match and Kofi won the first thing, I said to myself, well, Clark got that one. And It's an interesting concept. I mean, Kofi as USA champion, it's awesome. Former Intercontinental champion. So, putting a title kind of like in the same level that the IC title is on Kofi is an extremely bright idea. And not only that, but now that Kennedy is out of the spotlight, it only makes now more perfect sense that MVP steps into that role and kind of gets elevated in that respect.
And he was in that big tag match that they had. Both of those guys were in it, the Lakers versus the Nuggets last week on Raw. So, I mean, those were their top guys. You know what I mean? Those were the top dogs that they feel are your main eventers on Raw. And Mr. Kennedy is a little bit of a different story. The thing with Kennedy is this. Look, the guy comes back. The guy's been out for a while now, probably about a year now. You know what I mean? Maybe longer. Maybe, probably.
He came back and then re-injured himself, and then he did his little stints here and there. But and he came back, and a lot of people say that the guy was real sloppy in the ring, just careless. You know what I mean? And when I watch Kennedy's matches, I've seen worse. I mean, guys like the Great Khali and Vladimir Kozlov, when he first came in, were a lot worse than Mr. Kennedy was. You know what I mean? So the fact that he was cut, and here's another thing, is if the guy was so horrible, if he was so bad that you couldn't have this guy in the ring with your top guys,
you've got a developmental territory. So take him off TV, put him in FCW, let him train down there, let him work on his carelessness, and then bring him back up. You didn't,
well,
and not only
you said that. No, go ahead. You can finish it.
It was his first night back as well. You know what I mean? There's going to be a little bit of ring rust. You know what I mean? And we put a video up on the website of the bot spot where he dropped Orton on his shoulder, and it didn't look all that bad to me. You know what I mean? So I think there may be a little bit more to this that'll come out. Maybe some attitude issues, maybe something along those lines.